Hello and welcome once again to Diaspora Digital Media. My name is Rwamp Jr. Today is People and Culture, a program where we look at how we have come about, what do we believe in, what do we not believe in, and who our neighbors are. Generally, people around the world and how they live with one another. And to discuss a very important issue today with me is Mr. Emmanuel Gandu. Mr. Emmanuel, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Junior. I'm happy to be with you. Welcome, Nigerians and every other person watching from any other place. Thank you.
Good to have you. And we're looking at hijab. Quite a controversy, wouldn't you say? Hijab, particularly in Islam and in Christianity. There is a very revealing perspective to that, because what we have nowadays as a norm is once you see anybody in hijab, that's a Muslim, mostly restricted to the feminine gender. But let's hear more about it. An interesting perspective coming up from Mr. Emmanuel Gandu. But first of all, Emmanuel, may we know you more? Who is Emmanuel Gandu?
Okay. Emmanuel Gandu is a Christian from Kagoro, Southern Kaduna. Born in Southern Kaduna, but brought up in Zaria. I am in the midst of both Christians and Muslims. I trained as a professional librarian.
That's good.
I am a graduate of library science from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. I write, I'm a writer, I'm a critic, I am a social critic, and I mostly write about, speak about whatever affects humanity. That's all I do. Anything about Nigeria, the world, that has to do with humanity, I write about. I write about the crisis, terrorism, economy, religion, anything you can think of that affects humanity. That is what I do. I'm a freelance writer. So, that is a bit of me.
That is good to know. That is very, very good to know. Actually, I've been following some of your write-ups, and they are very, very deep. And no wonder you have a library background. Maybe that's where you got involved with so many books and you're versatile. Yes. Now, hijab, or as some call it, hijab, in Christianity and Islam. Can we know the origin?
Well, the origin of hijab dates back centuries before Christianity came on. That hijab is the culture of the Middle East and the Byzantine Empire long before Christianity came on. And when Christianity came, it was already a culture in the Middle East. It is not a Christian mode of dressing, but a culture of the people. And so when Christianity came, it continued as a culture. That hijab is what is used in those cultures in order to protect the sanctity, the chastity of womanhood. In that culture, no woman is expected to be seen outside with her hair open, head open, or any part of her body except the eyes, and that's all. And so, hijab is an honorable dress for women. That is how when Christianity came, it was already a culture in the place. So at that time, you cannot divorce hijab and the culture. When Christianity came again, you could not divorce Christianity and hijab.
So now, how come there is the assumption that everybody in hijab is a Muslim?
The influence of westernization, one, the coming on of many denominations in Christianity, two, and the different tribes of Christians came in with their own tribal dresses and cultures. So when you put together Western civilization and the different tribes and cultures, the hijab use began to be forgotten in Christianity. But what happened is this: when Islam came, Islam brought the idea of hijab. It was already a culture in the Middle East. So it was not a problem for Islam. And that is why Islam promotes aggressively the use of hijab to Muslims as a kind of Islamic kind of dress. That is where the division and the lack of understanding came in. Thank you.
Well, that's interesting. Now, so both Islam and Christianity do not have the, let's say, rights or ownership of the hijab. It is technically a cultural thing from the Middle East, probably due to the weather and also, like you mentioned earlier, due to their own culture, non-Islamic, non-Christian. That was the beginning of it. Am I correct?
Yes, you are correct.
Now, how comes in the Bible also we have references of a woman to dress modestly and decently? And do we have some women within the Bible context that were dressing like that, if it is actually part of the culture?
Yes, in fact, all women in the Bible dress in hijab. All women in the Bible dress in hijab. Because when Christianity started, it started in the Middle East, where the hijab was the mode of dressing for women. And the Bible was written at that time. And so, in the whole of the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, you always see the references, many of them, to hijab. It was not a matter of doubt. So it was. After all, look at the women of Jerusalem. Any woman in the Middle East was in hijab. Look at Mary, the mother of Jesus. She was in hijab. Every other woman was in hijab. Hijab can be called several names, depending on how you want it. You can call it a clock, like some Christians will call it a clock. They will not want to call it hijab now because they feel hijab is a Muslim name. But whatever name you call it, it is the dress, the style of dress, the mode of dress that matters. Hijab. Thank you.
Okay, so lately we've had like some countries even banning the use of hijab in some situations and always associated it with insecurity. Uh, what's your take?
Yes, many countries have banned the use of hijab. Morocco, Sudan, Guinea, Chad, Niger, Cameroon. These are all countries that are battling with insecurity, Boko Haram and whatever. And since the women guise themselves and hide arms, whatever, in that hijab dressing or burqa or whatever, those countries decided to ban hijab. But unfortunately, Nigeria, which was more hit than these other countries, did not ban the hijab. We'll go to that later. Why? But for now, these are the countries, some of the countries that have banned hijab, the use of hijab in their country, because of insecurity. Thank you.
Hmm. Yeah, but you can just go ahead and tell us why Nigeria has not banned it. And from your own perspective, do you think Nigeria should?
Yes, Nigeria should have banned hijab. Nigeria should have banned hijab like the neighboring countries in the Sahel also banned the hijab. Nigeria should have banned it. But because of politics and also most of our leaders play on the people's intelligence. They pretend to be Muslims. They pretend to be Christians, but they are neither. And that is why when they come on board, they would align to one religion in order to whip up sentiments in that religion so that they will control the followership. That is what is happening. Every state in northern Nigeria knows that hijab is a problem. Kano State, there was bombing in Kano State by women who dress in hijab. And even some men who dress in hijab pretending to be women were terrorists. And they bombed some mosques. But I tell you, none of these states banned the hijab. And if Chad, Niger, Cameroon, who are borders to us, who are neighbors to us, banned the hijab, why didn't Nigeria ban the hijab when we are more affected than even these countries? That is political. Simple. And because religion, like Karl Marx said, religion is the opium of the people. So they want to give the people religion so that they will get drunk. And as they are getting drunk, we begin to kill ourselves, Christians and Muslims. While we are killing ourselves, they are busy looting the resources of the country. We won't have time to think of what they are doing because of religion. Division of, religion divides us. So Nigerian leaders fail to ban hijab because of religion and politics. Simple. For their own sake, not for the sake of the masses of the people. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Gandu, Nigeria is known to be a very religious country, and we have like more Muslims and Christians than atheists, so to say. We even have people who are traditionalists. And within the Islamic sector, within the Christian and within the traditionalists, they have very strong codes according to their beliefs. According to our beliefs, I would say that a woman's dressing, a woman's presentation in public is sacred, especially an adult lady. Now, like I read in one of your recent write-ups that the hijab was meant to cover the lady so that she will not attract or seduce men. Don't you think the banning of the hijab has opened the floodgates of quote unquote and unquote indecent dressing? You see the way ladies dress, like intentionally, knowing that from psychological researches that the man is a seeing person. He believes in what he sees. So don't you think it's going to cause a degradation of religious values and chastity of womanhood?
Yes, the ban we are talking of the hijab was during the crisis of Boko Haram. and will be restricted to those areas and states that the Boko Haram was active, not in the whole country. And the ban should have been for a period. Once the Boko Haram insurgency was brought to a level that can be managed, then you unban the hijab use. But what we see in Nigeria was they don't want to hear anything about banning the hijab. We are calling for the ban of hijab in Nigeria, not a total ban, but a ban on those states, those areas where Boko Haram was very, very active. That is what was done in Cameroon. It was not a total ban in the whole country. That was what was done in Niger and other countries. It was not a total ban, just for those areas and just for that period. As soon as the insurgency was brought under control, the ban was lifted. That's it. We are not. It's not supposed to be a total ban. No. In fact, we are encouraging that everybody, Christian and Muslim, atheists, and anybody else, should allow the women to dress in hijab. Let me ask you a question. You are a man. Would you want to see your wife, your daughter, your sister, your mother dressed in hijab, or you rather like her to see her with her nipples, her breast, her buttocks open to the public? Which one will you prefer? So, I'll prefer hijab. I'll prefer hijab.
That's an interesting angle you're taking it there, Mr. Gandu. And I would personally prefer a hijab, well, from my own perspective. But, the argument some of the women or even men bring is they want to see, they, they, um, they want to be proud of how their wives look like. I mean, they want to see her naturally. And some of the women say they are proud of what God has given them. Can that argument be backed from a religious angle?
Yeah, I like the argument, but I want to tell you that that argument does not hold water. If God wanted women to flaunt their beauty, He would have made it so. The fathers, our religious fathers in the church and in Islam, thought it wise that women should cover themselves. After all, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So, a woman's beauty is for her husband. If she's not married, she will keep it for her future husband. So, who is she flaunting the beauty to? Who is she flaunting the beauty? After all, in African culture, women are not much to be seen, but to be heard. And that culture is the best ever in protecting the women and upholding their chastity, modesty. So, any man who wants to let his wife show the world that she's beautiful, then he is inviting danger, a problem to himself, because somebody else will see his wife and begin to like her and take her away. See the case in the Bible where that king was lusting over Uriah's wife because he saw her nakedness. You see, this is one of the problems that hijab will prevent. If you don't see the nakedness of a woman, you will not lust after her. And see what that caused. It caused the death of the husband. It was a sin. You see? So let's allow our women to dress in hijab, whether Christian or Muslim or atheist. Thank you.
In fact, while you are still at that, the dangers of flaunting uh, the nakedness or having pride in how you dress. I mean, what are the other implications? Is there any that you can name apart from having issues in marriages? Is there any negative implication of a
Yes,
woman dressing
yes.
anyhow she feels like?
Yeah, you are correct. The other ones are, you know, these days we talk about sexual violence against women, promiscuity,
Mm.
many rape, and all such vices are happening because a man sees a woman and he lusts after her. What if we want to stop these vices, the vices of rape, the girl child abuse, sexual abuse, and all those kind of things that we visit on our women and the girl child, we allow them to put on hijab. A lot of problems are happening in society today. A lot of violence, sexual violence, rape, and all kinds of things are happening. Even to even younger children that are below 6, 7 years, they are raped by men. That's the problem. Sometimes when they see adult women who expose themselves and they cannot get access to them, they descend on the innocent young children,
Mm. Pedophilia.
to satisfy themselves. So this is another aspect of why we encourage the use of hijab. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So, by and large, what would be your advice to generally ladies if hijab is not in vogue or probably banned by government? What's the general advice?
Well, my advice to ladies is to go back to the injunctions, the tenets of our religion. The Bible is there, and it has given us all that we need to know about how to be decent, about how to live our lives, how to behave, how to dress in public. The Quran also gives those guidelines. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, protected hijab very well, and he started with his wives. Yes, he started with his wives. And Islam followed what the Prophet Muhammad was doing in his home. And at that time, hijab was synonymous to being the wife of Prophet Muhammad. Once you mention hijab in those days, everybody will remember the wives of Prophet Muhammad. That's it. So I will encourage our ladies to go back to the roots, the Bible, the Quran. It has all that it takes to see what you need and how to dress as a decent woman. Hijab encourages decency. Yes, it makes you a complete woman. It doesn't take away anything from you. After all, if you are married to your husband. After all, if you are not married, you are waiting for your husband. So hijab discourages promiscuity. It encourages good neighborliness. It encourages happy married life. It encourages happy family living between parents and children, especially the girl child. That is, let's go back to the roots, the Bible, the Quran. So I encourage all the ladies, forget about modernity. It does not add anything to a lady when she's dressed and half naked. It doesn't add anything to her. It does not add anything to her. Because who is she dressing for after all? If she dresses half naked, the people that will look on to her or that will lust after her are people who just want to take advantage of her. I wonder, anybody that wants to look for a wife to marry, you choose between a woman who takes care of her decency and a woman who flaunts her beauty, breast, and buttocks in the open. He has a choice to make, and I bet you most men will choose the one in hijab. Thank you.
Yes, it has been observed in recent times that some Christians have like a total disdain or hatred for anybody they see in hijab, even especially not only in Nigeria, but within the international community. When they see somebody in hijab, there's that phobia. Why was that so, and what would be the advice, the way forward?
Yes, there is a phobia for hijab because of what hijab has come to mean to many people and how hijab has been used in religious cycles. One, take the case of Iran and Afghanistan. They pursue the use of hijab so vigorously that they take away the freedom that women have. A woman who is not dressed in hijab or even half dressed in hijab will be flogged in the public. She'll be beaten in the public. She'll be taken to court. She'll be tried by the religious law and maybe stoned to death or her hand is cut off. That's one. Secondly, hijab, as pursued by the Muslims, is looked upon as a kind of identity for only the Muslims. That this hijab is only for Muslims. And anybody who is not dressed in hijab is not a Muslim. And anybody who is not a Muslim is a subhuman.
Okay, we seem to have lost him there, but we'll continue as soon as he gets back and try to wrap up. Well, by and large, is the understanding of the hijab within our culture and our people has actually been misunderstood. For most people living around the northeast, northwestern parts of Nigeria, there is a lot of dust almost all year round. So it is part of the dressing to prevent yourself from inhaling a lot of dust as a culture of those people. So a hijab is not necessarily a religious symbol, but a form, a part of the people's culture. When you move further south into sub-Saharan Africa, there is the weather there is different, and many people dress without the hijab, which is not, of course, an offense. It is the way they dress and the way they find themselves. As long as you're decent, as long as you have a good conscience with the way you dress, go ahead. But a clean and the acceptable norm is dressed in a way that people will respect you, people will know that you are proud of yourself and you are decent. Not to say that some people are indecent. Everybody has a right to dress the way he wants to or she wants to, but it is onus on us, whether Christian, Muslims, traditionalists, or atheists, to present ourselves in a way that is respectful. So I guess our guest is almost back in, and we'll pick it up from there. Like a friend once told me, if God wanted to have women, particularly, expose themselves half naked, when Adam and Eve fell, both in the Bible and the Quran, they used leaves to cover themselves. But God, according to the Bible, now slaughtered a sheep and used the skin to make clothing for them from the neck down to the ankle. I think God was a fast tailor, he said. And that is why he would have appreciated uh, women, especially, to dress. You're still on People and Culture on DDM, Diaspora Digital Media. I remain Rwamp Jr., and we'll hold on.
I want to make an appeal to the Nigerian public, the Nigerian leaders, the religious leaders, to please consider the creation of the average Nigerian, the masses, who has to pursue the use of hijab or non-use of hijab. The public schools are meant to be for both Christians and Muslims. And so when you pursue and force people to use hijab or allow a certain group to use hijab to the school are above and above the uniforms that are stipulated for that is not good. Schools that have been established by government have uniforms. The legal profession have uniforms for that. The medical profession have uniforms for that. The police and other security agencies have uniforms. But when you now allow Muslims to use hijab, Muslim doctors, Muslim lawyers, Muslim students, and Muslim policemen to use hijab, it negates the issue of unity. There should be a level playing ground for all Nigerians, irrespective of their religion and tribe and political leanings. Hijab should not be used as a vendetta. Hijab should be used to bring us together. Hijab should not be used as a political tool. Hijab should not be used to promote one religion over the other. Let's have a level playing ground. Christians and Muslims can come together and continue to use hijab. But let it be on the understanding that no religion is well placed above the other. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello?
Your closing, yes. Your closing remarks then, you said before you...
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Emmanuel, we can hear you. You said before you close, you want to make an appeal, which is clear. Now, in 2 minutes, can you just give your closing remarks generally?
Well, that was part of my closing remarks. But as a closing remark, I want to thank you and your organization for making it possible for me to appear and discuss with you on this topic. I appreciate your effort in educating Nigerians, and you have helped me to also educate Nigerians on this hijab, so that we begin to see and have a coming together, so that hijab will not be used as a platform to divide Nigerians. No, rather, hijab should be used as a forum to bring us together. So help us, God.
Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel Gandu, for accepting our offer to be on Diaspora Digital Media. And the topic for today has been hijab in Islam and Christianity. We really appreciate your contributions, and thank you for being around.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. Happy to be with you.
Thank you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we draw the curtains on people and culture from Diaspora Digital Media, DDM. And thank you for being there. Join us next time for another edition. But remember, all Nigerians are equal, irrespective of your religion or ethnic background. And public schools and public professions should be treated equally, not based on religion. If there is a need for Christian to use a hijab or Muslim wants to use a hijab, that's a central message of Mr. Emmanuel Gandu's delivery for DDM peoples and culture today. And I think it makes a lot of sense. It will bring about greater unity. It will push the country to being one, and then we will teach the next generation how to live together despite our diversity, despite our beliefs, in unity. It will make for a better, prosperous Nigeria. On behalf of the entire team, Rwamp Jr. saying keep at it with us. Thank you.